Hello everybody, my name is Khaled Siddiqui, and in this video I'm going to teach you how to change the battery in your Garmin DriveSmart 50 LMTHD or any 50 Smart Drive 50, 60, all the Smart Drive series are basically the same the way you change the battery. So this unit is defective because when you press the power, nothing happens unless you plug it in. So if you plug it in, it works. If you press the power without the plugging it in, it doesn't work, which is an indication of the battery. Now, in order to change the battery, this unit doesn't have any external battery access like a little door to open. So you have to open the screws to change the battery. In order to open the screws, you have to use T5 star shaped. Okay, excuse my fingers, this is like a mechanic's finger, it's all dry scan and you name it, not a very lovely scene to watch. But anyway, so let's get this thing opened up. We have 4 screws. That's all we have to get to the bottom of this puppy. Now this will simply separate, but you will need a slight help from a sharp object like a knife on the edges. Very carefully. I mean, you could use a plastic knife, whatever, but you do need a little help to crack this open. See that? Just a little help. Okay, this side is out. Very careful not to hurt yourself, not to damage the GPS. Let me switch to the top camera so you can see better. Okay, let me zoom out a little bit. What I'm gonna do, once I remove this, I'm gonna show you the mechanical fitting mechanism. Okay, now this is out. All around it's open, but there's a flat ribbon cable, so you have to be careful. You don't push it because that cable will break. This cable will break, which is the microphone cable, and this flat ribbon cable, which is the video cable, will break. So this is how it's snapped in together. You see these little notches? This one and this one, these. So there is 3 on this side, 2 on this side, 2 on this side, and 3 on this side. And all these little notches, they go into these little plastic holders. So if you know the concept of how it's held together, then you know exactly where to pry to release it. Now I'm using this dull knife. This knife is very dull. It doesn't cut anything. Watch, it's dull. Because I made it dull intentionally. I took it to the concrete and made it dull so it doesn't hurt me. But if you don't have a dull knife, I recommend using a fruit knife. The one that you use to cut apples and bananas. If not, use a guitar pick. Any object that's not dangerous and sharp. But it has to be hard enough to fight this to open it. And when you're doing this, you have to be very careful not to break the screen, because see, the screen is just in a frame, very fragile, so you have to be very careful when you do that. Okay, so let's get on to the battery. Now, in order to get access to the battery, what we have to do is we have to slide this forward like this. Let me zoom in so you can see better. Okay, now that I have slid that forward, I'm going to remove this tape. You could use a small sharp object to remove the green tape. You have to remove the green tape in order to remove the LCD cable. Now remember, when this tape shouldn't be peeled off like this, because you will damage the cable. So you have to slide it sideways like this, sideways, because if you pull it up this way, the cable will come up with it and gets destroyed or damaged. Now you see that little brown bar? That brown bar needs to come up like this. So you will, now I have released the cable. See that? Now after you release the cable, you are not out of the woods yet, because you have 2 wires for the microphone to desolder. Most of you will not have a soldering iron. If that's the case, just leave it aside. If not, you could disengage it from here. There. You could disengage it from here. It simply goes in and out. Watch. Like that. It's in. And you simply, oops, comes out. Very, very gently. If you were to change the screen, it's very simple. The screen changing is very, very simple. This is the screen. You just snap it with another screen and put it in. Now this screen is attached to the frame with the touch screen. Normally the screen is sold separately, the touch screen is sold separately. This is as a whole unit you have to buy, which includes the touch screen and the actual LCD in the backlight, everything. It's a whole unit that you have to buy if you need to change it. I don't need to change it. The screen works fine. I need to change the battery. To change the battery, now see there's a little cable. You unplug that cable, and then the battery is glued, or I should say double-sided tape in there. So to do that, to remove it, you have to use a flathead screwdriver. You take the flathead screwdriver and basically try to pry it out, not to damage it, very gently, very nicely, very easily. Now here we have an opening, which is probably the best area to insert this, and give it some elevation, and there we go. Voila, we have our battery out, and this is no longer needed. This is the glue that comes with the original battery, which you no longer need. Okay, all right, so now let me get the replacement battery. Okay, my replacement battery comes with all of them. If you buy it from a legitimate source, they will come with a sticky pad on one side, which has a 3M double-sided tape. And what you do is you remove the top like that. You remove the top like that, and your battery is ready to be glued in here or attached in there. Push it in, and your battery's not going anywhere. It's stuck there. Now it's time to put back this in. Now when you're pushing this back in, make sure to realize this, that the red is closer to the battery, the green is closer to the speaker. It only goes in one way. You cannot push it the reverse way, but if you force it the reverse way, you will damage the connector, and you will damage this because you will be feeding it reverse polarity of DC current. So now the good battery is in there. It's time for us to put it back together. If we were to change the screen, it's the same thing. You just put a new screen instead of the old screen. Okay, to put the screen, again, you see this thing we were discussing about? This little small little flap going back and forth. Okay, this is what we need to basically keep in the open position in order to put the new screen. So now I'm going to show you what does that mean. Putting this in the open position is like that. You put it in the open position. Now we insert the cable for the screen in there. When you insert the cable, let it rest and make sure it goes in all the way in, so that it is not sticking out, all the way in with your nail. Try it with your nail. Make sure it's all the way in. At the same time, push this back down. When you're pushing this down, this brown tab, make sure it's all evenly spaced here. If it's not evenly spaced, that means the cable did not go in properly. It went this way or this way, so it has to go in parallel, not this way or this way. Okay, now we cannot reuse this little funny tape. We have to get a decent new tape, because that tape is gone, is dead. So now what we're gonna do, we're gonna get a new tape. This is our new tape. Put in your new tape and open this back to put this. Be careful so you don't damage the cable. Attach your microphone cable just like that. Actually, I put the microphone cable in reverse because the cable was like this. The cable was like this, and then this little cable went under that thing. It was like this. See that? That's like extra protection, so you don't accidentally pull out the mic by pushing this. Okay, so everything looks good, and it's time to snap it back in place. You snap before you snap it in. See, I can snap it in right now, but I don't snap it in. Before I snap it in, I have to power it up and make sure it works. Make sure my battery and my screen was installed correctly. So there you go. The screen is working, the battery is working, and I can snap it in. But I'm not gonna snap it in while it's booting, because that could trigger the reset. And there we go. Okay, there it is. The battery is not charged yet because it's a new battery, but it's like 80% charged. So I'm gonna now press the power button to turn it off and snap it in place. All around, make sure it's snapped in place. Put it upside down and put the 4 puppies back in. Let's put these back in. Okay. The second screw goes in. Okay. The third screw goes in. Okay. And the fourth screw goes in. Voila! We have our GPS up and running and ready to go. So that is how you replace the battery in your Garmin DriveSmart 50 series GPS unit. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe.